In the last section, we went through another example, or at least we expanded our example on generators. So in this section, we're finally going to pull everything full circle. We're going to talk about how generators work and what we use them for. And most importantly, we're going to tie it back into a topic that we discussed just a little bit ago, the for of loop. So remember, we use the for of loop to iterate through an array. And we kind of said, well, there's reason to using for of besides just, instead of using the for each or map or whatever else. So this is where we're going to really tie everything together inside this very short, succinct section right now. So the first thing I want to do is I want to create a new generator, and I want to call it colors. And inside of here, I'm going to have multiple yield statements. So I'm going to yield red, blue, and green. Okay, so we have multiple generators inside, or excuse me, multiple yield statements inside of here. So now I can create my generator object by calling colors, and then I can call gen.next. The first time I call .next, it will enter the generator and execute everything up to the first yield statement. I then yield a string of red, and so we can see on the object over here we've got a value of red. Then I will re-enter the generator, execute everything up to the next yield statement, and I yield blue, so I get a value of blue. And I think you can see where this is going. I then get green, and finally if I call it again, I get done true. This time around I'm not returning any values, so the very last call doesn't have a value or anything like that. It just says we're done, we don't have any more yield statements, nothing else can be done with this generator. So we cycled through all the different messages that came out of this generator right here. So now here's the summary, here's the big reveal, here's exactly what we use generators for. Generators work perfectly with for of loops. That is like the big huge reveal. I apologize if there was way too much build up here, or if I should have just said that at the get-go, but this is just kind of how it all turned out. So I'm going to take a for of loop, I'm going to say let color of colors, and I'm going to execute it right away. And then inside of here, it will make a array ahead of time, my colors, and then I'll push on my colors dot push color, and let's print out my colors. And sure enough, I get red, green, and blue. So what this for of loop did right here, and I'm going to kind of clean up all this code right here because we don't need it anymore. So now we're down to just our very core example right here. What our for of loop does is it works perfectly with generators. Every single time inside of our generator that we yield a value, it creates a single run of our for of loop. So I have 3 yield statements in here, and I yield red, green, and blue, or red, blue, and green, excuse me. That means that I run my for of loop 3 times. The first time, color is equal to the string red, then blue, and then green. And you'll notice that I don't have to deal with like the .next or the value or the done, true, or false, all that stuff in here. It just plain works with my for of loop. And so all that kind of complexity, all the stuff that's going on with generator, we don't really have to deal with. We just write a generator function that yields some number of values, and then boom, eventually it pops out something that we can iterate over with this colors right here. So this is really where generators and for of loops start to get much more interesting. When we use them in tandem, we can build up objects that will iterate through any type of data structure that we can possibly imagine. So that last statement right there, that is the purpose, as we're going to cover it, of generators. We can use generators to iterate through any data structure that we want. So we're used to just iterating over like objects and arrays, but we can use generators to iterate through wildly different types of data structures. Let's continue in the next section and look at a little bit more practical example of this. Okay, so let's continue on and we'll look at a practical example of where I might want to use a generator function.